Love and affection, no fear of rejection. This I know is true. Peace and contentment, no need for resentment. This I found in you. This I found in you.
Red's not supposed to be green, like faith's not supposed to be seen. The sky's not supposed to touch the ground, and a square's not supposed to be round. The moon's not supposed to touch the sun, and a two is not supposed to be a one. Said the heart's not supposed to weigh a ton, and forever's not supposed to be done. Winter's not supposed to come in June, and I am not supposed to have the blues. There are so many things that are not supposed to be, babe, except you and me. There are so many things that are not supposed to be, ooh, babe, yeah, except you and me. Night's not supposed to be long, yeah. No one is supposed to be alone. Understanding is not supposed to be confused, and the wind is not supposed to lose. Like fire's not supposed to freeze, or like joy is not supposed to grieve. Like you are not supposed to leave what I said I'm not supposed to mean. He is not supposed to have your heart. Baby, we are not supposed to be apart. There are so many things that are not supposed to be said. You and me. There are so many things that are not supposed to be. Hey, baby. It seems just like no seasons changing, or this earth with no creation, or a heart with no feelings, or a sickness without a healing. Just like a frozen spring, or a bird with no wings. Just like a song out of key, that's how my life would be. Like the night skies with no stars, a lonely broken heart, no holding hands or walks in the park. That's how it would be if we were apart. Ooh. There are so many things, yeah, except love. So many things that are not supposed to be. It's like having nowhere to breathe, like having no words to breathe, like having no rain for the sea. There are so many things that's not supposed to be, not supposed to be, except you and me, baby. Yeah, yeah, baby, yeah, except you and me.
If it ain't official DanaJay, Prima Donna News, I don't even want to see it.
So you got me here, they can come and watch us here. They gotta leave us alone, away from what to say you love it, what you gon' do now? Hope you're ready, cause I'm really about to put it down. Girl, you know that I will never disrespect you. We have tomorrow, but tonight I wanna spank you. That ass, girl, gotta make it last now. Instead of soaking, I'ma beat it up. No, try to say stop when the beat say go. There you go again, that voice is cool. Should make your girlfriend go. Come on, come on, come on. You've been waiting patiently, wondering when and where I be. After causing ruckus in the industry, making this so she can't sleep.
Money coming through, back up. Money coming through, back up. Money coming through, back up. Money coming through. See them two chicks, call that a double up. See that black range, call that an armor truck. Move them ropes, bitch, this ain't double dutch. 20 years career money, y'all niggas knucking up. Pop champagne, call that a bubble up. Chicks came back, but I ain't trying to cuddle up. 31 flavors, talking about the cars, now garage like a rainbow. Like the juice in my cup. But I ain't trying to brag though, haters move too slow. Y'all better step it up. If you that shit up in this club like I am in this club, then throw your middle fingers up. All stars, shot set fire. Know who we are. So haters, back up. Money coming through, back up. Back up. Money coming through, back up. Back up. Money coming through, back up.
Ay,
let's go.
Money in the bag, call that a robbery. Shorty seen the ass, now they wanna swallow me. Mag mouse swag, you hoes at the Dollar Tree. They wonder where I'm at, but you hoes better follow me. Gone in the brain, need a lobotomy. Keep that thing clean on the side of me. Diamonds in my chain, think I won the lottery. Haters wanna hate, but they don't even bother me. Wait, it's money in the building. Cash so long, I can stack it to the ceiling. You ain't making meals, then you ain't even appealing. Why my nigga Kale's gonna tell him how he feeling?
All stars, time to set the bar. Know who we are. So wait up, back up. Money coming through, back up. Money coming through, back up. Money coming through, back up. Money coming through.
Dream Team, we up late. I know it's late. Can y'all vibe with me a little bit? Hey, we up late. Yo, we gotta talk about this Kales, man. Y'all thought I wasn't gonna come live. Y'all thought I abandoned y'all for the day. But we gotta talk about this motherfucking Kales, man. Let's keep it real. We gotta talk about this Kales. And I sat back and I told everybody I was gonna sit back and watch this. So what I'm gonna say is, what up, Dream Team? What up, everybody that's in the chat? What up, everybody that's live? What up, everybody that's sitting on the lawn, that's watching the greatest show on earth? God damn! It'd be none other than daintezjackson and the Dream Team itself, along with friends, family, more friends and more family, and more friends and more family. So I say this much. I need y'all to share this out. I need y'all to tag news stations and everybody, because I got a problem. And I'm sporting my Turn Rkelly shirt up. It's been that all day. I got a problem. On the day that Jesus was born, September the 11th, as we discovered, I got a mother freaking problem. And I ain't letting it go. I need somebody. What up, Joe? Joseph Lewis in the building. I need somebody to hashtag Levi for Kelly. I got a problem. I need somebody to hashtag Levi for Kelly. I got a problem, and I'm going to set it straight today. And I know somebody going to say, oh, Dana and Levi beefing. No, we not. It's not that type of problem. Sorry to bust some of your bubbles. So the ones that came over here looking for that, you can leave the chat now because it's not that type of problem. But I got a problem. And my problem is going to be the biggest problem of them all. I told you, I give people reasons to get mad at me. When you get mad at me, it's for a reason. Now, y'all heard Levi come on and say, for my cuz. You know what I mean? And he hits that because he have that right. I'm jumping straight into it. I ain't holding no punches back. I'm going straight into it. My problem that I have is this right here. The Best of Both Worlds was a great idea. Follow me, Dream Team. Follow me, friends. Nah, follow me. The Best of Both Worlds was a great idea. Originally, it's supposed to have been Rkelly and Tupac Shakur. However, it ended up to being Rkelly and Sean Carter. Or should I say Rkelly and Jay-Z? Let's take it this way. However, Jay-Z was the persona that he felt as though that he was God. He was Hove. He was Jigga. He was that nigga. Rkelly was just the lover man, the crooner, the toner, and the king of R&B. If y'all can remember when Rkelly brought out the buffet, every news station gave him the Lion King intro when they said, the king has returned. In that intro, It came out with Backyard Party right after that. The King has returned. And the first thing you're doing is what I'm doing right now. And you're going to start jamming. I thank you so much, Lexington and Ren. Thank you so much for the 5-piece. Yes, sir, the 5-piece. What it do? Ken at the truth. There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you for the 5-piece. I got, you know what? Ren just sent me something so I can go get 5 McNuggets. That's a 5-piece McNugget. Thank you so much, Ren. So when you get the going, right? That album do something to you. Every R. Kelly album make you move. It make you quiver for your liver, honey. Tell me one Jay-Z album that you can listen to from start to finish and you get the same inspiration you get from when you listen to a R. Kelly album from start to finish. So I'm getting to the point of you have selective enemies that try to be your friend. But when you ball it up, they become only frenemies. They become only frenemies. So where did R. Kelly and Jay-Z go wrong? Was it the money? No. Was it the women? No. Was it the band? No. Was it the music? No. The same thing you seen with them, you see same thing you see play out on YouTube. It's the ego. Jay-Z felt as though he needed to close out the show. Rob felt as though he needed to close out the show. Well, I told y'all this. Some people went and did their research and said, Dana, you was right. Some people just said, okay, I'm going to take Dana's word. Jay-Z has never had a show where the crowd was begging for him to stay. During his set, they might have been vibing to the song, Hove up, and that's what they pump up. But if you've never been to a Jay-Z show, the crowd never begged him to stay. I've witnessed Jay-Z get murdered on stage. Murdered. When they did the Hard Knock Life tour, DMX stole the show from everybody. DMX did something that nobody ever fathomed before. That's what you call an artist. Jay-Z is boring. But Jay-Z got connections in high places. However, when you go to an R. Kelly show, I'm sorry to tell you this. I don't know if you've been to an R. Kelly show, but you're losing your girl that night. And people be thinking I'm joking. Never take your girl to an R. Kelly concert. At the end of the day, and if anybody that been to an R. Kelly concert, they can vouch for this. He have a segment that's almost at the end of the show where he say, kiss it goodbye. And in that show, or should I say in that segment, R. Kelly says, if I can remember it correctly, ladies, are you comfortable with your man tonight? Do you want to come home with R. Kelly? He do something like that. And then he say, all the ladies that want R. Kelly come to the left side of the stage. They flooded. All the guys be sitting there like this. And it's been that way from 92 on. It's been that way. However, The record label built Jay-Z up to be God. But in the cycle of it, listen to what I'm saying. God, Jay-Z, got destroyed in the process. He got humbled too many times by other artists. If Pac was still in mainstream, you wouldn't hear of a, you wouldn't even hear of a Jay-Z. Because when Pac went at him on Hit 'Em Up, Jay-Z took a 3-year hiatus. No, I'm done. He was venturing into movies or being a record exec. Rkelly has elevated every year. And that's the problem. They built him to be a sex symbol, not knowing that he was going to take it and soar. They thought he was just going to be planed. And then when they want to elevate him, he was going to be elevated. So I'm going to let you hear a little bit of this. Right? Lord have mercy. So I'm going to let you hear a little bit of this. And check it out.
I mean, but so what?
Right.
So what?
You don't leave.
Right. First of all, a lot of people don't really understand that. They don't know that you missed the light in cue. What are you talking about?
Right.
Right? So the cue that was missed was 2 sets ago. So that had to be all premeditated. Like, then I do a set, then he do a set, and then he runs off and screams at the light.
Is this the reason?
Shout out to Gary Westcott. I'm sorry you had to put up with all that.
Is this the reason that, because I know there was a show in Connecticut that was canceled.
Yeah,
because
he wanted to get a new lighting guy.
So you had to cancel the show.
We had to cancel 2 shows. We had to cancel Milwaukee, and we had to cancel Connecticut.
You guys are never gonna.
You can't
fix this.
Louis,
like, you're gonna.
And we canceled Cincinnati.
Hartford.
I mean, this is just disrespectful.
Are you gonna do the rest of the tour by yourself?
Yeah, I would love to just do the best of both worlds, me and Mary. I want to put it out there right now. Like,
Mary, I just spoke to Mary. She's at home. She wants us to call her.
Let's call her.
So we gotta.
I don't want to put that. I'm not gonna ask on there.
No, we don't have to ask her. But I would like to get on the phone because she destroyed it tonight.
Oh, she murdered it.
I never saw her do song cry. Did she ever do song cry before?
Yeah, it's in the movie. On the movie, if you'd have came to see the movie.
Oh, shut up.
If you'd have came to see the movie,
I'm there at the premiere. I'm gonna get an outfit and everything.
Yeah, well,
I'm there.
Everybody better grab the Best of Both Worlds album up now because that's it. There will be no more Best of Both Worlds.
Something with this thing that
it's just not supposed to.
It's not going to happen.
It's not supposed to. It's too much. Yeah.
I know
certain things just don't. It's not meant to be. It's just not going to happen. I tried.
I was going to say I know how much.
It looks great on paper, man. It looks wonderful on paper, but it can't happen. Like, I'm a real dude, man.
Did you have to swallow? Did you have to really hold back on certain situations to try to make it work?
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I mean, I went way out of my way. I mean, first of all, the second show in Chicago, after the first night it was terrible, right? Mm-hmm. And this is your hometown. It was terrible, right? So the second night, the guy is on the bus. He won't get off the bus. I'm waiting downstairs 2 hours.
Mind you, the night in Chicago, he's saying it's terrible because the crowd booed him. And they only wanted Kales. Rob had to come out and tell the crowd to give Jay-Z his time. So now he's saying it's terrible. Let's finish.
In my white suit. 2 hours. This guy don't come downstairs and say, yo, man, his excuse was he's waiting for his show. Well, you don't do that now. He's changing his lineup and he's waiting for his show. But he never said nothing to me. I'm just sitting there. He's on the bus hiding. They're scared to knock on the bus. And I'm downstairs, wait 2 hours.
Wow.
I don't work for you, B.
Let me tell you something.
I was gonna do that in Chicago, but I was just gonna set it off crazy in Chicago and just I'm not going nowhere. I was gonna do 45 hits in a row in Chicago and just own the whole city. But I gave him that leeway because it was his town.
Yo, your game face is crazy because the other day when I was asking you what was going on, you was really holding it together.
I'm holding the guy down. Yeah, I'm at the radio station 6 in the morning, right, doing interviews to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 by myself, doing interviews, holding this guy down. Yeah, he needs lights. He needs his lights. This is not cool. This is not fair to me.
All right, please, if you just tune in, it's Hot 97. Jay-Z is here. I'm here. E's here and there.
This is damn near gay.
Mr. C is in here. This is damn near gay.
Yo, man, I can't take it. Yo, I swear to you enough. You better stop being there go my man C. Enough.
Box, right? And I know you were saying there's benefits and not benefits. Keep everybody in the loop of what's happening. So he said, I just want to tell y'all I love New York, but there's people in the crowd that got
ridiculous as someone in the crowd is pointing a gun at him. That's Madison Square Garden. The thing, and I see him in front of the stage, but I can't hear what he's saying. I thought he was going for the lights move again. My lights is messed up again, I thought he was going for that move again. I didn't know he said something as ridiculous as someone in the crowd is pointing a gun at him. That's Madison Square Garden. That's a world class. I mean, they're tough in the Garden. You can't do what you want in the Garden. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. No, I don't want to put Puff out there, but he had a tough time getting backstage. It's a tough thing. Mm-hmm. So imagine that. You cannot get a gun in Madison Square Garden. Are you crazy? Like, does he know where he's at? This is the Garden.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So at what point because people gave him love when he was performing?
Yeah, but that's the problem. We even have good shows. But if I get love, like if people give me love, he has a problem with that. Like his ego cannot take that.
That's bananas.
That's the other way around.
Have you tried to talk to him about it?
Of course, and I've talked to him like a real dude because he's not used to having real dudes. Like, yo, dude, you're ruining yourself. I don't work for you, B. You know what I'm saying? I don't work for you, nor am I under you. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a bad dude myself.
And what's his reaction to that? Like,
my lights. I said, no, it wasn't your lights. It was just because his first 2 shows was horrible. I was like, is your lineup, B? Change your lineup. Mm-hmm. And he changed the lineup when we started having good shows for a while, and then back into this.
Like that.
Try to outshine you or destroy.
Now, let me ask you a question. With all the hits that Rkelly got, what lineup you think is bad? Have you ever heard of a bad Rkelly lineup? Now you know the nigga lying. This is what I mean. When people got to lie to make themselves look bigger than what it is.
You on stage, I'm here to do my part, the best of what I do. You're not going to have the same reaction as You Don't Know. You Don't Know is a high energy hip hop record. Mm-hmm. It's a different, dudes are singing that and jumping up and down. They're not doing that. They're not jumping up and down singing It Seems Like You Ready. They damn near singing that out the corner of their mouth. Right. Like, I'm embarrassed. I like this my joint, but
right. It's like, cool
they're not going to be jumping up and down.
Wow. We wanted to rock with you, but we were still kind of not sure what the hell was going on. But by the second and third song, we forgot.
Yeah, and by the way, that was a big, and I heard you, and that's a big thing. You got a whole arena full of people that came to see both of us, and now I got to carry that whole weight. That could have went out anyway. You put me out there. You put me out there too many times.
I have to say,
it's just too many times. It's enough.
I have to say, I love you. I'm supposed to come out, or was she was there?
I had Mary. Me and Mary was going to be. I'm not going to be the unprofessional guy. People in Cincinnati looking at me like these dudes ain't coming. I have nothing to do with it. Like I said, all I needed was a mic, turn on the mic, and whatever.
So what happens after? What did he do after? He just broke out and left? Did you get a chance to see him or talk to him?
Of course. I didn't speak to him.
Did anybody try to change his mind? Did anybody try to...
Show together, B. I could try my best. I could do it by myself. I don't really need to do. It's up to New York. It's up to the people that bought their tickets and people that, really want to see him make that decision if they want me to do the show by myself or they want to just get refunds for their.
Oh, they can get a refund.
Yeah.
Hey, darling.
So you're going to have to do the shows because you got a show.
Right. So, second of all, this happened in St. Louis for no reason. First of all, let me explain to you about St. Louis. The lighting cue that was missed was 2 shows back, 2 sets back. Like he had a set. It was, I mean, they missed my cue every night. They missed my cue on the opening, on my, when I had my hands folded. That was my money joint. Right? They was late on my cue. I could have left. I mean, but so what?
Exactly happened, but Rkelly's people are downstairs and waiting for him to pull up any minute. And we're going to talk to him and find out what happened. Oh, man, damn.
What a night.
This is bananas.
What a night, New York.
I can't imagine, like, what was going on backstage. I mean, just find out where he's at. What happened? I mean, how he feels about what Jay said, and how he feels. What a night.
So let's pay attention to some of the things he said. First of all, he said R. Kelly had a bad lineup. Now, I done been to many shows. I done been to many impromptu shows. I've never heard R. Kelly with a bad lineup. The reason why? Because ain't none of his lineups a bad lineup. Second thing is, if that's the case, Jay, why was Rob pepper sprayed? Last but not least, if Rob just darted off the stage, as you said, and messed up the tour, how was he able to get $75 million out you, Jay-Z? Somebody that messes up the tour breaches their contract. And when you breach your contract, you do not get paid in court. Hell, they would have to pay you, Jay-Z, but you had to pay him. Then you did an appeal and lost again. Then your real self came out. Them horns came out. You reached out to your ex, boo Thang, Dream Hampton. Dream Hampton had the Enterprise and the Working already. She had Tamara Simmons. She had Lifetime. She had the recording of the filming crew. And she had some badass actors. I'm going to be honest with you, Dream Hampton. I would take Geronda Pace and put her in the new Oprah Winfrey movie, Color Purple, because she played that role quick and good. She sat in front of the camera. They said cue. She said, and she was doing it on cue. And then she'd look up at the cue card. So people that's trained in the field of the arts, we can sit and do this. They cut it there. She reading off the cue card there. We can do that because we know what to look for. We can even tell you that if I'm sitting in front of the computer, you don't know if I got a cue card at the top of the computer and me reading. The only way you would know if I stay fixated like this. But if I'm like this, out of my provincial, and I just glance up every little bit, and I play around with it and like this, and I'm doing all this, you don't know what I'm looking at. And then on top of that, the music played the part. The music was depressing. It was sombering. So it put you in the mindset of these people telling the truth. Because the music captivated your soul already. Oh, you ain't think I was going to go there. You ain't think I was going to go there. But I got one better. Y'all had secret meetings at O'Hare. Y'all put y'all game plan together. We didn't know until the Chicago trial that Avenatti was representing the dude that was trying to extort R. Kelly and Mr. Freeman. We didn't know that Mr. Freeman had doctored more than one tapes and gave it to Avenatti, and where they influxed and made it look like Robert was doing some things. Stop. Y'all seen today how they manipulated 9/11, the FBI, the CIA, right? So the FBI and Homeland came to get Robert. How don't we know that when they got with Avenatti, that they manipulated some tapes to give you deep fake? I told y'all about that before. I'm going to give you some factors. Avenatti got charged with 13 counts on a federal level of felonies, right? Avenatti wasn't supposed to see the light of day for another 36 years. They give him house arrest because COVID was in New York. Now, who's more of a flight risk, Avenatti or Rkelly? On top of that, when it was time for Avenatti to go back in, he gave him a fight. He didn't want to be back, and he violated his bond. They told him, don't get on the computer. He got on it anyway. Didn't care. Here's my question. What was he doing on that computer? Because what got me, and nobody paid attention to this, not even Levi, is that when Freeman came to testify, they specifically stuck on a videotape that Avenatti talked about specifically. And then before Robert went to Chicago court, they let Avenatti out on home detention. The feds ain't letting you out unless you got to work for them. If I was a fly on the wall, I can bet you the conversation went like this. We need to ensure this nigga's conviction. And we need to ensure this nigga's conviction. So we need that tape to be crisp as possible. You know, Avenatti specializes in CGI. CGI specializes in what? Deepfake. Oh. But Dana, you don't have no proof in that. Only thing you know is you got little text messages, and you showed us the text messages that Avenatti met with Homeland Security, FBI, Kim Fox, Jim Daryagas, and all that, right? So watch this. The video that got swept from every social media until now. The infamous video. Take a listen.
Kelly. Mr. Kelly, on at least one occasion, told associate number one that he would be, quote, dead, close quote, if another copy of the first tape surfaced. Mr. Kelly also bragged to associate number one that he had dotted his I's and crossed his T's, quote, unquote, and that the young girl who was depicted in the videos and the young girl's family would not testify against him in connection with the trial because he had relocated them and paid them off. It was subsequently learned that Mr. Kelly, through multiple means, had paid the young victim and her family over $2 million not to testify and come forward in connection with the 2008 trial. So to those Rkelly fans who want to talk about the 2008 trial and the fact that he was acquitted, it was bogus. Rkelly bought his acquittal. He bought this victim and their parents and ensured that the truth was never told to that jury in 2008. There were subsequent disputes between Mr. Kelly and associate number one relating to the payment of the monies for the recovery of the first tape. Those were documented contemporaneously, meaning there are contemporaneous documents from that time period, making it impossible for this to have only now been fabricated. On one occasion, Mr. Kelly and Mr. McDavid paid associate number one approximately $160,000 to $170,000 in cash contained inside a shopping bag. This was during the 2008 trial, and it was done to ensure that associate number one did not come forward and describe the obstruction of justice that had been carried out at the request of Mr. Kelly. Ultimately, a copy of that first videotape was provided to Ms. Fox's office by me in February of 2019, earlier this year. There is no question relating to the chain of custody of that videotape, what it represents, whether R. Kelly is on it, whether he paid a significant sum of money together with others in order to attempt to bury it and prevent the truth from coming out. Be clear, R. Kelly and those around him obstructed justice in connection with the 2008 trial. Those are some of the charges that he now faces. And I am highly confident that when all the evidence is heard, that he will be convicted, along with others around him, of obstructing justice in connection with the 2008 trial.
Now, I have a question to ask y'all. I have a question to ask y'all. And the question that I have to ask is this right here. Everything that he just said, Daryl McDavid, June Brown, and R. Kelly was exonerated of it. Which means two things. Now, Michael Avenatti can be sued for punitive damages by R. Kelly and Ms. Bonjean, because he put the narrative out there. And Judge Levenweather allowed the prosecutors to run with what Michael Avenatti said word for word. Now, the question was this. Everybody asked me, Dana, why would you say, why wasn't Michael Avenatti there? I'm going to tell you why. Because the prosecutors ran with his testimony word for word. And that testimony or them charges should have been disbarred because he wasn't there to identify them. So therefore, what? It fell on his face. He was charged. So therefore, those charges shouldn't have been there because they didn't come from the feds. They came from Michael Avenatti. Y'all see where this going? Let's finish.
We have now provided 2 videotapes to law enforcement. We are presently trying to locate a 3rd videotape that we know exists. That is the tape with Ms. Van Allen, Mr. Kelly, and the 14-year-old girl.
And that proved to be wrong. That tape proved to be Ms. Van Allen, Rashona when she was grown, and Drea Kelly. So therefore, not only has the chain of custody been broken, but the feds relied on Michael Avenatti, which was a presidential candidate, to get R. Kelly. Make this make sense. It was his interconnections that got Robert succumbed to this situation. Let's finish.
The reports of 20 videotapes being provided to law enforcement are completely bogus, ridiculous, absurd, nonsensical. I don't know what other words I can use. Whoever is reporting that should be ashamed of themselves, because whatever source they're using is ridiculous, bogus, not credible. Ladies and gentlemen.
So what source was you using that was ridiculous and not credible? Because the charges that you had put on him, which constructed the RICO in Chicago, guess what you have done? You have caused this man to be sitting for no reason, and he was acquitted of his charges. Thank you so much, ATB. Thank you so much for the 10-piece McNugget. I can go get a 20-piece with that $10. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
It hasn't happened. 20 videotapes have not been turned over to law enforcement. What else is...
Wait, so if 20 videotapes haven't been turned over to law enforcement, why was Larry and Okov and Team Truth talking about 100 devices then? Why was they running saying, oh, it was 20 videotapes turned over? Wait a minute. And then Avenatti was Angelo's lawyer. Uh-oh. He also was Lizette lawyer. He also was Faith lawyer. Let's talk about it. While I got y'all here, I'm going to walk y'all down that street.
Bogus and ridiculous. This story that recently was reported about the two young ladies, Miss Savage and Miss Clary, being evicted from the Trump Tower. Whoever reported that, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're not a journalist. It's disgraceful. Stop worrying about clicks and do your job. Those young ladies have not been depicted. They may have not been evicted. They may be evicted within 30 days, but they presently have not been evicted. Why do I care about this? Why do I care whether this false information about 20 videotapes, etc., is out there? I'll tell you exactly why I care. This is a serious matter, and I want to ensure that justice is done here. The media has a responsibility to get it right. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to plant bogus stories.
Well, that came from your own team. That came from Team Truth. It wasn't no Okov then. It came from Team Truth. That was your team that did that. So you coming out here making it seem like Rkelly supporters, Rkelly friends is putting out bogus statements to taint what you got going on. No, your own team did that. Why? Because they were so caught up in being a victim. Let's talk, Avenatti. You're a disgrace to the public people.
Only so they could be knocked down. What did we see earlier today? We saw the eviction story being knocked down by the two young ladies. They posted a video of them sitting in the Trump Tower. Am I surprised by that? No.
Yeah, that's true. SpongeBob Steve was his driver. Now, see, this is where I say it made sense why Larry came out and said they all lied. Because just like Diva can spin the block, so can we. And when we spin the block, they get mad at us because we ain't supposed to spin the block. We supposed to go along with it because he been elected and he been given the time that he got. Come on, man. Let's stop. Oh, we gonna go there today. Right, the creepy porn lawyer.
I knew it was false. Before the press reports on facts relating to this, you need to ask questions as to where this information is coming from and whether the individuals have any basis to actually know about it. A major national network contacted me on Saturday or Sunday and asked me if both Ms. Savage and Ms. Clary were in Atlanta. They had received a report that they were in Atlanta and they were getting ready to run the story. I represent Alice and Angelo Clary. I still represent them. They are in touch with their daughter.
Hold on. Whoa. So that right there knocks down the whole story of when Angelo and Alice came on in and said, we haven't talked to our daughter. Wait a minute. What their lawyer is saying coincides with Shabazz filmed on his documentary. Uh-oh. Let's go. So now we gonna get to the nitty gritty. Larry and Team Truth was running with a story when their lawyer already debunked the story. And when I said something about it, when Prima said something about it, at that time, spitting fire, I gotta give her props. When she said something about it, we all became the bad people. So I got a question to ask. Why is it that when we tell the truth and we spin the block and tell the truth and show the truth, we still lying? You can't get me with that MK Ultra bullshit. Oh, you see it, you hear it, but don't believe it because it's not true. So I'm glad that Larry came out and told the truth. The question is, why did he come out and tell the truth? Just stay right there. I'm going to get right to it.
He is here in Chicago. She never went to Atlanta. Ms. Savage also has not gone to Atlanta. Once again, I don't know where this information is coming from.
The only queen, I don't know who you talking about that Angelo haven't talked to him, but I do know that Angelo talked to Michael Avenatti heavy. That's who went and got Michael Avenatti, Angelo, for him and Alice. Right, so I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not accurate. As it relates to Alice and Angelo Clary, like I said, they are in contact with their daughter. They are in the process of trying to be reunited with their daughter. They hope to be reunited with their daughter shortly. Obviously, this has been a very long road for both their daughter and them. And you can only imagine the amount of time that it's going to take for that relationship to be repaired.
So if that's the case, if they always was in contact with their daughter, it makes fucking sense. It makes sense. So the picture of R. Kelly being taken on the bed with the young lady taking a picture with her crotch sitting out. And I'm not going to show that picture out of respect. Out of respect for the young lady. Because I wouldn't want nobody putting my daughter naked crotch and stuff up. Nah. Nobody paid attention to that picture. The picture was taken with a phone through the legs, and the hairs in the crotch was sitting there. Now, what gets me is why would somebody take a picture like that, exposing R. Kelly and sending it to the Savages? Oh. So they took the picture, sent it to the Savages. And if I can remember, Angelo always said, nothing that happens, he don't know. So if he's in constant contact with his daughter, why would Angelo have to go around the people in R. Kelly camp to get to see his daughter if he's always in contact with his daughter? I'll tell you why. It had to be a narrative that had to be followed. The narrative was planted by Michael Avenatti. Why was a narrative like that planted? Because R. Kelly had to look like a human. I told you that. He had to look like a human. What is a human in Black Law Dictionary? Half man, half beast, someone who can't control their actions and need to be locked up for long term. That part, Prima, the state case would have definitely fell apart. So Avenatti being a political person and a presidential nominee, that brings Avenatti into the fold in order for him to have his client and Freeman do whatever they got to do. It got to go federal. His connection to the federal is what? Gloria Allred. Who did they use? Don Russell. Without Don Russell actions, nothing happens in federal. Without Don Russell actions, nothing happens in New York. What's up, Mr. Libra? And what's up, Shannon? What up, Judah? Thank you for the 10-piece, Judah. Now you see the connections. And they use the actors who you see now acting up on YouTube. They use them and some other more to be the enterprise that they were talking about. So when you hear people say one man can't be an enterprise, that's true. But when y'all was added into the fold, y'all made that one man ain't no enterprise valid. Why? Because R. Kelly's the front man, y'all the ghosts. Y'all are the ones that was talked to in secret. In secret, along with the frenemies that he had. And they told y'all wouldn't be charged. Case in point, on R. Kelly trial, when people start speaking out and zapping out, everybody that says something out of turn should have been locked up. But the judge let it go. Why? Because he had the big fish. Let's keep it going.
I want to address one more issue before I take questions. The people on social media and others that are talking about the fact that this is somehow driven by racism or bigotry should be ashamed of themselves. Every one of my clients is African American. This doesn't have anything to do with race. This has everything to do with justice and what's right and wrong. Many of the investigators are African American. This is a case about young girls, many of whom came from rough neighborhoods, who were economically disadvantaged and were easily preyed upon by a guy who used his power and wealth and contacts to get away with it for almost 30 years. That's what this case is about. It's not about black and white, it's about right and wrong. So I'll be happy to take some questions. Yep.
Explain again. You said there's three, turned over 2 or 3 tapes. What are they of? There's one of Mr. Kelly and the young woman, and there's one of a young woman with an older woman. Kind of walking through the tapes you've turned.
We have turned over 2 tapes. Both tapes depict Mr. Kelly with a girl who is 14 years of age.
Same girl? Same
girl. Clearly depict Mr. Kelly. There's no question that it's him. The mole is clearly visible on his back. They both, the young girl and Mr.
Hold on. How's the mole clearly visible on his back, Avenatti, in this tape, but the tape that you submitted in the beginning didn't have a mole on the back? And if it's the same tape from 2008, it didn't have a mole on his back in 2008. So that clearly shows that you did what? You altered that. Let's go.
Mr. Kelly referenced the fact that she's 14 on both of these tapes. There's a third tape that we are trying to locate.
Now, that was knocked down in court. They said that wasn't even true in court. So how are you able to slander this man and defame this man in public and nobody do anything? Oh, because you're in Greenberg friends. I get it. All right.
That tape, we understand, depicts Mr. Kelly with the same 14-year-old girl together with Miss Lisa Van Allen.
Just to follow up on that, who did you give the tapes?
So if you have a tape with Lisa Van Allen, a 14-year-old girl, and R. Kelly, shouldn't Lisa Van Allen be in jail too? I'm just saying, Chad, if there's a tape with Lisa Van Allen as an adult, Robert Kelly as an adult, and Roshana underage, shouldn't Lisa Van Allen be in jail too? Yes or no? That's all I want to know. Are we on the same page? Or is this a two-tier justice system? I'm just saying. The tapes was given to him by Freeman. The same guy that tried to extort R. Kelly.
We initially provided the tapes to Cook County, and they in turn provided them to federal law enforcement.
And your third tape, is that the...
Well, that's a lie, because federal law enforcement and Cook County said they couldn't look at the tape because they couldn't identify the chain of the custody. And they said all of that stuff in there, it looked like it was just reprogrammed.
Or the tape that the prosecutors in Chicago, federal prosecutors in Chicago mentioned?
No.
They don't have? No.
No.
This is a separate tape.
Correct.
And do these tapes have to do with the case, the federal case in Chicago or New York?
Well, the tape, I think the tapes would be used as evidence in all of the cases, both in the state case as well as both.
Pay attention. Pay attention. In all of the cases.
Federal cases.
What do you make of the allegations in the New York indictments that say that R. Kelly's business operated as a criminal enterprise?
Well, I certainly think that there's substantial evidence of that in light of how long this occurred, where it occurred, the number of states that were involved. This was not some isolated incident. I mean, you are talking about literally dozens of victims.
You mentioned that the Clarys have been in touch with their daughter. What is the progress of those talks, and why do you believe that they will, in fact, meet again?
Well, the progress is incremental. Again, as you can imagine, this is a very emotional time. I think that Ms. Clary and Ms. Savage likely will slowly come to the realization that this is over. And when I say it's over, I'd be very, very surprised if Mr. Kelly ever sees the light of day again outside of federal custody at this point in his life. I do not think he will be granted bail in connection with both of these proceedings, and I believe that ultimately he will serve a lengthy, I think that Ms. Clary and Ms. Savage likely will slowly come to the realization that this is over. And when I say it's over, I'd be very, very surprised if Mr. Kelly ever sees the light of day again outside of federal custody at this point in his life. I do not think he will be granted bail in connection with both of these proceedings, and I believe that ultimately he will serve a lengthy and rightful prison sentence for his decades of abuse. I think it's...
I got one question. How do you know that? How do you know that? And it haven't even been before. Man, they haven't even superseded the indictments at this time. How do you know that? How do we know that?
And Ms. Savage likely will slowly come to the realization that this is over. And when I say it's over, I'd be very, very surprised if Mr. Kelly ever sees the light of day again outside of federal custody at this point in his life. I do not think he will be granted bail in connection with both of these proceedings, and I believe that ultimately he will serve a lengthy and rightful prison sentence for his decades of abuse. I think it's going to take time for both of them to come to that realization. You know, these two young ladies have been brainwashed for the better part of 2, 3, 4 years in many instances. They've been fed quite a story by Mr. Kelly. And from what I've heard and the evidence that I've seen, this man is a sociopath. In every term, in every way, every sense of the word. The conduct that this man engaged in, had he not been as successful as a songwriter and performer, he would have been locked up for the rest of his life a long time ago.
What's the nature of the talks that Azriel's had with her parents? Are we talking about text messages, actual phone calls that are long?
They've had text messages and telephonic communications. I don't want to get into the details of what they've discussed because, again, I don't want to violate their privacy. That this may...
Hold on. I told y'all this is when I started talking about the text messages, and people ain't want to talk about that. Now, 3 years later, people want to talk about text messages. This is why I blew them off at first. Because when I started talking about them at first, nobody knew the significance of it but me. I just couldn't get my hands on them. However, watch this. He don't want to talk about the text messages. Listen to how stupid people are. Look, I don't even entertain these folks. So what I do is I just run a straight block party. And then I report harassment. Thank you. How to use on my channel. Thank you. Mods, I need y'all to pay attention. That's what y'all there for. So when stupid people come in here and say he ain't get a bail because dollar for the king, how stupid can that be? When a dollar for the king had his own indictment and passed with flying colors. This is why you can't entertain stupid people, but that want to throw you off. They didn't want to talk about the text messages, and he didn't want to talk about the text messages because of what the text messages show. And on top of that, if you don't want to show what the text messages consume, what are you concealing? That would have caused chaos in the households. But let's keep it a buck. Let's go.
And engaged in. Had he not been as successful as a songwriter and performer, he would have been locked up for the rest of his life a long time ago.
What's the nature of the talks that Azriel's had with her parents? Are we talking about text messages, actual phone calls that are long?
They've had text messages and telephonic communications. I don't want to get into the details of what they've discussed because, again, I don't want to violate their privacy. But this is going to be an incremental and slow process. And I'm hopeful, and they're hopeful, that they're going to be able to rebuild the relationship with their daughter, who they love very much.
And when was the last time they had contact? Today, yesterday?
I believe yesterday.
Question. Why would you have to rebuild a relationship with somebody that you're talking to constantly? Can somebody make this make sense? If you're talking to your daughter constantly, why do you got to rebuild a relationship? Now, when I came out and told y'all a lot of this stuff was a bunch of lies and hogwash, Team Truth, which is now Oak wanted y'all to believe that that was a lie. So now that Larry came out and told y'all that, yes, they all lied. Now, it's supposed to be believable. When I already told y'all it was believable. You see what I'm saying? Ashley Casey said, well, I'm wondering where Jay-Z comes in at, since he had a lot to do with that surviving Rkelly. Well, Jay-Z used to date Dream Hampton. Jay-Z is still bitter about losing the lawsuit to Rkelly. So, from what I was told, Jay-Z funded surviving Rkelly. So make it make sense. There you go, Judah. There you go, Judah. You don't got to take the harassment. Block them. And keep it moving. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow up behind you. So I don't believe they had to turn Azriel's phone on. I believe her phone was already on. And here's what I'm going to say once again. I believe those text messages are real. It's just certain stuff was doctored and taken out and certain stuff was put in. I believe that. And I showed y'all about the text message time frame being altered. At the end of the day, I'm going to still tell you. Alice and Angelo, they were heading for divorce. And I believe that when Angelo got back with Alice, Alice told him something or whatever, and he ran with it and his family. However, he's still wrong. Because at the end of the day, instead of Angelo doing his full research and finding out what actually happened, that makes him part of the problem. So if they was to do a conspiracy, everybody going to jail, including Angelo, because ignorance is not a defense in a court of law. Let's finish.
The federal charges combined with the state charges seem to identify about 10 people. There might be some overlap, 10 victims. Yet you talk about dozens on top of dozens. Are there a lot of unidentified victims? Are the feds still working to track them down? Why do you say there are dozens and dozens?
There's a number of unidentified victims, and there's a number of other identified victims who have not been cooperative thus far with law enforcement and have not been willing to provide interviews or statements to law enforcement. And I believe that the hope is that as time progresses and as people begin to realize that, again, this is over, that they will come forward and do the right thing and also have the courage to disclose what happened to them.
Okay, so now you're telling me that Michael Avenatti wasn't coercing people? And Michael Avenatti wasn't using Tim Savage to jump out there to coerce people? And where I'm about to go with this, y'all gonna understand why I disagree with Levi. Why I disagree with him and Larry's stance. You're gonna understand why. And I said it once and I'll say it again. In this situation with R. Kelly, you can't dismiss everybody else and single out one set of parents when it was a collective. It was a collective bargaining chip for all parents involved. Let's look at it. If you dismiss the Savages, that means you dismiss about 45 AKA supposed to be victims. And Tim is not the one that started it. It was Jongelin that had to convince Tim to get into this. I got that audio as well. So we can't dismiss parents because every parent played a role. That's why I said I disagree. Because now Levi got to sit and show where every other parent is non and void. It's all about this one set of parents. But I get it. Because they got art with that one set of parents, they are willing, Larry and Levi are willing to dismiss everybody else. But wait, if you dismiss everybody else, or let's just say if nobody else matters, R. Kelly still sits and behind the other parents' actions. Let's look at it. If you have no Rogers, you have no New York trial. If you have no Savages, you don't have no publicity nowhere. If you don't have Ashanti McGee, then you don't have a spokesperson for surviving Rkelly. So at no point in time can you say, let's dismiss everybody else, but let's just focus on one set of parents. No, you focus on everybody. Why? Because everybody lied. This ain't checkers. This ain't chess. This Rubik's Cube you playing now. And you can't take out one and think you're still going to make a match. No. And that's been my stance. And Levi like, no, we got to focus on the setup. Well, the setup is with all of them. Why? Because they all had the same lawyer at one point in time, Michael Avenatti. So when you look at the setup, you got to look at the setup. I ain't finished. See, I'm about to go there. Y'all about to make me go there. But let's go there real quick. Let's get it out the way. Lizette Martinez had a GoFundMe, right? Have you mean to tell me after raising $230, after being on Surviving Rkelly, you got to reach a goal of $4,500? Have anybody wondered where did this GoFundMe go to? Because it only disappeared a year ago. It only disappeared a year ago. Well, I'm going to tell you where it went. It went here. Rkelly manager tried to intimidate, silence, sex abuse accusers, lawsuit claims. Wait. Listen to what it say. Rkelly manager tried to intimidate, silence, sex abuse. Tried to silence sex abuse accusers, lawsuit claims, right? Rkelly's accusers are suing the disgraced singer. Hold on. Make this make sense. Why are you suing Rkelly when you said his manager tried to intimidate, silence sex abuse accusers? But then you say Rkelly's accusers are suing Rkelly. Y'all don't understand what's going on, do you? I'm gonna read this little section, and it's gonna make you think. Rkelly's accusers are suing the disgraced singer and his manager for allegedly trying to intimidate them with tactics that included calling in a shooting threat to a theater premiering a documentary about the singer. New court papers show Lizette Martinez, Lisa Van Allen, and Faith Rogers, who claimed they were sexually abused by the 54-year-old convict, filed the Manhattan Supreme Court lawsuit alleging that Kelly and his inner circle began an orchestrated effort to silence, harass, bribe, and intimidate those brave young women and their friends and family. They claim Kelly's manager, Donnell Russell. Hold on, because I don't know why people just don't understand. They claim Kelly's manager, Donnell Russell, made a series of threats to try to prevent the 2018 premiere of docuseries Surviving Rkelly from going forward, the court papers from Monday claim. I'm going to stop right there. No, I'm going to go here. Defendants use escalating methods of intimidation, moving from legal to terroristic in a matter of hours, the suit claimed. Noting that before the call came in, a cease and desist letter was sent by Kelly's people to stop the series from airing. Russell, 46, was arrested last year for allegedly making the anonymous threat to the Newhouse Theater on December the 4th, 2018, causing an evacuation and derailing the show's screening. The case is pending trial. The theater threat will leave a lasting emotional mark on the women who were understandably terrified and exposed, the suit claims. Listen, pay close attention. The theater threat will leave a lasting emotional mark on who? The women who were understandably terrified and exposed, the suit claimed. Okay, I'm glad you said that. I'm going to show you what's going down. And y'all about to get mad. New lawsuit alleges R. Kelly and his manager. Now look, check it. New lawsuit claims or alleges R. Kelly and his manager tried to silence, harass, bribe, and intimidate accusers and suppress surviving R. Kelly. Watch this. Published when? December the 2nd, 2021. Haven't I been telling y'all that Don Russell been going around telling everybody that R. Kelly made him do that? So watch this. Watch this. Y'all heard me read just a few seconds ago, the women, right? And all of y'all thinking, well, these women getting $10.5 million. It's not just the women. Hold on, let me see what this says. Okay. It's not just the women. Let's look at it. It's Lizette Martinez. I want y'all to see this. Lizette Martinez, Lisa Van Allen, Kelly Rogers, Faith Rogers, Roderick Gartrell, and Jim Pratt. Hold on. Roderick Gartrell is Lisa Van Allen's boyfriend. Jim Pratt is Drea Kelly, whatever you want to call him. I got one question to ask. Have you seen any one of these out here battling for the so-called victims? So let's take real life situations. We seen how Larry get down, right? We seen how Tim and Jongelyn get down, right? We seen how Angelo and Alice get down, right? The reason why they want R. Kelly out of jail now is because they was left out the lawsuit. This the lawsuit that won, but you don't see none of the major players there. So they mask it, and this is why I said Levi missed it. So they mask it like, oh, they so hurt. No, y'all not heard about Robert. Y'all heard that Lizette, Lisa Van Allen, Kelly Rogers, dumbass, Faith Rogers, Roderick Gartrell, and Jim Pratt went behind y'all back and played y'all for a fool, let y'all jump out there and get attacked like a motherfucker, and they get the lawsuit. And they only got it by default. Why? Because Bon Jean wasn't there to defend Robert Kelly. So, if I was Larry, I'd be mad too. My family got doxxed. I had to move. I'm on the front line fighting for y'all. And they didn't even tell them that they did this lawsuit without them. Somebody check on the Savages and make sure they not dead somewhere. Because you know if the Savages was part of this, they would have had the TV series jumping. Angelo probably would have had 98 trucks on the road and some food trucks. But because all of them got cut out of the deal, they all went quiet. What up, J-Rock? I told you, I ain't come to play with nobody today. Because if you think I'm coming to play around, God damn it, I'm not. So this is what I don't understand, though. Donnell Russell did the gun threat, but you including Robert and the RSK Enterprise in your stuff. Well, wait. The only way they can do that is if Don Russell went public and said Robert made him do it, which Donnell Russell did it on 3 occasions. Now watch this. All of this behind money, right? And because they got this by default, guess what's about to happen? Robert got a chance. He actually got a year. Robert got a year to tell Bonjean, go and destroy that. Like Bonjean did in Minnesota. That's why I say what I say. Do I think it's right? It's just show that Lizette Martinez, Lisa Van Allen, Kelly Rogers, and Faith Rogers are a piece of shit. How do you cut the people out that been fighting for you the whole time? The folks ain't even know that y'all was even in a lawsuit. And the crazy part about it is Kelly Rogers used to call the Clarys every day and didn't even mention this. So here's my question. Levi, can we still only focus on one set of parents? Or can you focus on everybody that was a Michael Avenatti product, which was Lizette Martinez, Lisa Van Allen, Kelly Rogers, Faith Rogers, Roderick Gartrell, and Jim Pratt? Now, how would Jim look knowing that Drea is not even part of this lawsuit? Make this make sense. I told y'all don't want to play with me today. But I want y'all to look at something. I want y'all to look at something, and we up out of here. 8 minutes, 15 seconds long. We gone right after this video, and we going hard. This is what they don't want to see. This is what they don't want to hear. Let's go.
Was invited to contribute to a television show out of North Carolina around the singer Rkelly, who was convicted at trial, sentenced to 30 years in prison. And apparently Rkelly is transferring to the federal prison in Butner. In advance of this TV interview, I did a little research on the case because I had never covered it. I didn't follow it. I never listened to his music growing up. In fact, the only time I heard coverage of this case, I think, is when Dave Chappelle did a comedy skit in one of his Netflix specials. So wanted to feel prepared for the interview, I did some research. And when I read about how poorly he prepared for sentencing, I read it and I thought, this is a teachable moment. If you are going through this system, if you have pled guilty or you have been convicted and you have a probation interview coming or a sentencing hearing, you can learn from the terrible, horrific mistakes Rkelly made through sentencing. The question is, are you going to take the advice or are you going to cower and not do anything? That is up to you, but I am here to teach and get you to take the appropriate action. Now, so many defendants, whether you plead guilty or are convicted at trial, are told by the lawyer to scale back. Don't say anything. Let's not give too much ammunition or information to the government for fear that it could hurt you. Now, of course, that information...
Pay attention what he's saying. If you notice, he said he was invited on a TV show out of North Carolina. Who's in North Carolina? Lisa and Cassandra. This is what I mean when I say you got to watch stuff. He is saying the terrible mistakes Rkelly made during sentencing, right? This is to try to drive Jennifer Bonjean away. And this had happened right after Jennifer Bonjean didn't acknowledge Lisa and Cassandra as her sisters. They went and lied to this man and told this man some crazy stuff. Now listen to this.
Doesn't align with what we've learned from judges. So a huge part of thriving through the system is exercising and using your own judgment. That's why the videos we have filmed with federal judges are so impactful, because you're hearing it directly from them. I've spoken with judges on stage and I share those insights with you. You've got to take this information, assess it, and act. So think about the consequences that would follow if you don't seek to change the government's version of events. You sit down for a probation interview. What does that stakeholder or probation officer most likely have? Well, they're going to probably have spoken to the prosecutor. They're going to have your indictment, your conviction, any press releases, victim impact statements. Overall, they're not going to think that you're a great person based on the government's version of events. Now, you might be thinking, Justin, but I retained a former U.S. attorney. Big deal, by the way. I don't care if you have a lawyer that graduated last in law school and barely passed the bar. If they're open to collaboration and thinking and teamwork and putting their ego aside, I don't care. Neither should you. I hear our team hears that every day. I hired a former AUSA. Well, what does that mean? I'm not really sure, but it's on their website. Okay, great, but are they into mitigation? Are they letting you do the work? Do you understand what you need to be doing on a daily basis? Are you told to scale back and wait? It's too early to prepare, which is what we frequently hear. So I hope you have a great lawyer. Regardless, you've got to do the lion's share of the mitigation. So if you're not doing this work leading up to a probation interview, and if you work under the mistaken presumption that, well, my lawyer's going to say it, my lawyer's going to sell, it's a former U.S. attorney. They're going to do it, right? That's why I paid them. I know you're all enamored by that. Well, I'll harken back to something that Judge Boo told us in a video that you can watch. Lawyers are paid to articulate why you're worthy of leniency and why the government's version of events may be wrong. And if that's off-putting to you, Mr. Lawyer, I'm sorry. We're here to speak openly and honestly and help defendants understand the stakeholders. Probation officer, a judge, a warden, a case manager. In our experience, they want to hear directly from the defendant. A federal judge on stage one time said to me, if the defendant is a bad father, you can expect the lawyer to say that he's a good father. If the lawyer had bad intentions, you can expect the lawyer to argue that perhaps he was swept into this and he did not have bad intentions. Who do I believe it's discounted? Now, I've also heard they probably discount to a degree what the prosecution says, because what does the U.S. attorney want? Convictions. They don't want to advance their career because someday they're going to become a defense attorney that you may hire because you're so enamored by it. So if you understand the stakeholders and what their role is, does it make sense that you try to influence them to the extent that you can? In our experience, yes. So in the Rkelly case, he's convicted at trial, facing a sentencing hearing, and his lawyers, of course, advised him, well, don't say anything. You have other cases. There's an appeal. We're going to appeal this. You're going to win. You're going to prevail. Don't say anything. Fundamentally different than someone than Wrong Thorgmartin, who's in our community, who was convicted at trial. The government asked for 14 years. He got 6 years. Ron surrenders to the federal prison camp today in Montgomery. I'll post a video I did with him this week. You can still mitigate and share details of your life without jeopardizing your right to an appeal. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't need to be to know that common sense would dictate that if you've had trauma and ups and downs throughout your life, you should and still articulate that to a federal judge. Tell me how that jeopardizes your right to an appeal. Now, his lawyers tried. His lawyer tried to get on the record that there were mitigating circumstances that should have led to a prison sentence of 10 years versus 30. Specifically, his lawyer said Kelly experienced a traumatic childhood involving severe, prolonged child sexual abuse, poverty, and violence. If true, that's horrific. Here's my question to you. Would it have been more impactful if Rkelly articulated that to his probation officer and judge? Or is it more impactful if the lawyer is articulating that, not even to the probation officer, simply to the federal judge? And that's the takeaway from this video. The reason Rkelly, he got a long sentence for a number of reasons. Apparently he did terrible things. He was convicted. He victimized people. He'll be lucky if he gets out of prison alive. And if he does, he'll be damn near 80 years old. This isn't so much about Rkelly, but it's more about the way that so many defendants continue to make these really tragic, horrific, sickening, disgusting decisions leading up to sentencing. It's part of the reason our phone blows up continually with, I didn't know. I thought I was going to get this. I got that. I didn't think the PSR was a big deal. I thought it was going to be a 7-minute interview. Now the person recommended 8 years. I thought I was going to get 2. Is this normal? What happened? I have a former U.S. attorney who told me it was all good. What's all good? That's on you. So you can learn from Rkelly. and you can recognize whether you're convicted at trial or you pled guilty. The onus is on you to articulate through your own words what you've learned, where you're going, if there are victims, that you identify with them, what your plans are moving forward. That information aligns with what our team has heard from wardens and prosecutors and judges. You can watch those videos. You still have a chance, right? Like if you have not been sentenced, even if you've sat for your probation report and you don't like it, you still have an opportunity to make changes. Yet so many people reach out to our team, and you know what they want as I close this video? A do-over. They want another chance. Do-overs don't exist in life. And while today is the best day to begin making better decisions, it's brutal and heartbreaking for many of you who look back and say, I wish I knew this then. But even worse, many of you know it and you still don't do it because you cower, you're afraid to have tough conversations. I'm not indicting all of you. This is YouTube. I presume many of you made good choices, but I know many of you regret the lawyer you hired, the way that you held them accountable, the way you prepared for the probation interview, and then when you learn what to do, you don't do it. And I'm here to tell you as your friend, that's on you. Pain and regret. You can deal with a little bit of pain and some short-term discomfort of having hard conversations. No, my lawyer doesn't want the narrative in the probation interview. Let's push forward. Let's overcome it. Let's get it in regardless. Just don't say, okay, Mr. Lawyer, fine. Ask why. Why? Judges have told me this is beneficial. I've read reviews. I've read case studies. I've heard from people who have articulated the value of doing this. Help me understand why you're against it. Just because you've done it before doesn't mean that it's right moving forward. Help me understand it. That's how you respond rather than cowering. Pain versus regret. It might be tough, having some painful conversations. It might be foreign to your character and uncomfortable, but what you won't have is the enduring regret that so many of the guys have in the minimum security camp walking around that slow duck.
Now, how ironic is it? How ironic is it that when Jennifer Bonjean don't acknowledge Lisa and Cassandra as his sisters, this man come out not 2 weeks after that interview, after sentencing, and the man tell you, I was contacted to be on a TV show. And remember, when they was on Phases, the dude had a studio on one side and a TV studio on the other side. And the dude was dealing with Cassandra. But not 2 weeks after Robert was convicted, right? Or should I say sentenced in New York. This man pops up and say, I was supposed to be on a TV. I was offered to be on a TV show in New York. I was contacted by two ladies in North Carolina. I was contacted by two ladies in North Carolina. Who else is it? Cassandra, Dr. Rogers, allegedly. So, with that being said, I'm wondering if Bonjean would have said, oh yeah, Lisa and Cassandra are sisters, would that man have popped up and said anything? You got to put the connections together. This is a massive setup on one man. And this is deep. So I'm going to leave y'all with this. Watch who you keep in your corner. Every yes man is not a yes to you. However, I do want to introduce you to something. Rkelly have a book. It's an ebook. It's for $29.99, right? I'm not playing it because I'm not pirating him. I tell everybody, I talked to Kerry. I had an extensive conversation. His conversations is about his family. Hey, somebody in his family got my name. It's about his family. It's about his mama's legacy. If you want to hear this man tell you the facts according to his recollection, then go look at it. Go buy it. Go purchase it and listen to it. This is deep. And you see who's on there. Robert's in the middle, Miss Joanne at the bottom, Carrie to the left, Bruce at the right. I'm just saying, this is some deep stuff right here. And when you have people that would get out here and try to exploit it and put it on YouTube and play it and take money out this man's pocket, this man trying to do an honest living. He ain't out here begging for cash apps. He trying to do it the right way. And now that I'm speaking on that, don't forget, you can go to the Kelly Chronicles 1.wixsite.com/Kelly-Chronicles. The Kelly Chronicles. All right? Go support Carrie. I'm going to say this while I'm on that topic. I told y'all, don't listen to what people say. Listen to what people do. I was told, oh no, Mr. Libra, nah, Carrie did all that on his own. It's no book deal. That's on his own. And when I talked to him, he's pretty much told me it was his mother's legacy. Hey, you can't argue with nobody that's doing something for their mom. However, I said the Walrus was a liar and a scammer, right? People told me I was jealous. I don't know what I'm jealous for. Now I'm being accused of striking her page and all this other stuff. I paid no attention because it's hogwash. Once I realized and I seen who she's aligned with, there's no need for me to respond to them. But I got a question. And I said I donated $10 to Bruce. Only because I have a right to ask this question because I donated, right? So I have a question. And my question is, why haven't Bruce went to go see Robert Kelly at Butner? We are now September the 12th. This is the second week in September. They were supposed to go see him the second week of August. You haven't heard nothing. And I'm not coming off like I'm Mr. Big Shot, but as Levi was saying, I'm putting a thing in a thing and I'm making y'all see what's really going on. Bruce told you he didn't put no paperwork in. In order to go see Robert, you got to submit paperwork. It's something bigger at play here. So understand this. While people was running to support her and Bruce in the lie, I stood in the gap and ran interceptors. So now I challenge everybody that donated to ask Sylvia one question. What is the update on Bruce? Where is Bruce now? And why Bruce never went to Butner to see Robert after y'all donated y'all hard-earned funds for him to do so? Y'all gun-ho. Y'all for Robert, right? Well, y'all shouldn't be for the scams. And I'm going to try to get Carrie on the channel soon. I'm going to try to interview Carrie so that way a lot of y'all can really understand this man's psyche and where he's coming from. Like I say, we ain't paying attention to them folks. We moving forward. Also, tomorrow at 10:30, if you are in Atlanta area, you can come out and support. You can come out and trip with us. You can come out and be a part of history tomorrow. Or if you have a relative that's in Fulton County Jail, you can come out or you can contact the Jack Brewer Foundation. Hashtag Free the Fathers. This is for Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023 in Atlanta, Georgia. The purpose of this initiative is to save lives and return fathers to their children, also mothers to their children or their offspring. Here's the background. In the past 6 weeks, 6 inmates have died in Fulton County Jail. The U.S. Department of Justice announced in July that it launched a civil investigation into the Fulton County jail system, following a series of reports of inmate abuse and neglect. Harrison Floyd, who was the only co-defendant in the Fulton County RICO case to spend time in jail, is contributing all the proceeds made to his defense fund over the weekend of 9/8/2023 to 9/11/2023 to pay bonds for those who can't afford it. On Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, Harrison Floyd, Jack Brewer, and other prominent Black Republicans will travel to Fulton County Jail to provide financial assistance for those who can't afford a bond. A second chance bail bonds will be the agent of record. Requirements for assistance: individuals who are incarcerated for a non-violent crime, have no history of addiction, and priority will go to those who have offspring, aka children. We ask for everyone to dress professionally and keep orderly conduct. Press, please direct press inquiries to who? Dana J at 404-914-7986, or you can email me on a brand new email, y'all, at OfficialDanaJay@proton.me. A second chance bail bonds will be the bail bondsman of record. You can contact Melinda Lackey at 404-937-6457, or you can email her at melinda.l@michaelmckenzie.com. Location tomorrow at 10:30, 901 Rice Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. To support, contribute to give, send, go Defense Fund, https://www.givesendgo.com/official Harrison Fund. If you have already contributed, ask 10 people to donate what? $1. Repost, share content across your social media platforms. And right here is the link for the Justice Department announcements. If you want to see what the give look like, here it is. Official Legal Defense Fund for Harrison Floyd. Here you go. Here you go. The goal is $350,000. We already raised $301,070. Give, share, pray. Here it is. Give, send, go. This is the official legal defense fund for Harrison Floyd. Okay? All right. I want to thank y'all for joining me. Like I say, I just wanted y'all to know. Hold on. Y'all didn't see it. So let me go ahead and put it on here. Hold on. Because I want y'all to see it. Y'all know everything I do is with decency and in order. There it is. Give, send, go. So far, our goal was $350,000. We raised $301,070. I'm just saying, we going. We going. So I thank y'all for joining us. I thank y'all for being with me. I thank y'all for showing support. But guess what? DanaJay have to go. But before I go, I'm going to say this. Just like we doing in Atlanta, I urge Jay Prince in Houston. I urge Mob Ties in Houston. I urge Jay-Z in New York. I urge Diddy in New York. I urge Baby and them in Louisiana. I urge Lil Wayne in California. Just like we doing it, y'all can do it worldwide. And go get the ones that can't afford bail that's just sitting there. Come on. If we can do it, y'all can do it. We challenge y'all. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, y'all just signed multi-million-dollar deals. Let's go. Oprah Winfrey. Let's go. Tyler Perry, I invite you out tomorrow. This is how we doing this thing. We ain't playing around with these people no more. Let's go get the people out. But guess what I say? We are always the ones that started off. Atlanta, always the ones to do it. So guess what? We're going to be the ones to do it again. Thank y'all for joining me. DanaJay gone. Love every last one of y'all. Peace.
When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. When the chips are down, these civilized
friendly reminder, I want you to stop worrying about who like your pictures, baby. They see you. They watching. You got your foot on their neck, baby. Big motion. And guess what? They're going to screenshot this and talk about you in the group chat. So you might as well go off. Ain't no tippy-toeing. Ain't no playing it small. Ain't no playing it safe, baby. You big pressure. Stand on that.
What about me would make you think that I care about your opinion of me? Your opinion of me is not the opinion that I have of myself. You ain't make me, so you can't break me. You didn't build me, so you can't kill me. You know what? God established me. So you ain't nothing you could do to me. I've been him. I've been a difference maker, a game changer. I've been that guy. So what would change? Not a darn thing. I'm not even playing the game, and you got an opinion of me. I love it, but I don't care. And I wish the world thought like that. Youngsters, if you're out there right now, do not give a darn what opinion people have of you. Long as that opinion is not consistent of that of yourself. You be you. I'm not planning to make you feel good about me. I already feel good about me. I'm good. Message for the youngsters out there. And the old school, not old fools. Look at me.
Whatever you want, whoa, whatever you need, my heart belongs to you. Oh, whatever you need, then nothing I won't do. Oh, whatever you want, oh, my heart belongs to you. I say whatever you need. Whatever you need, my heart belongs to you. Whatever you need, there's nothing I won't do. Whatever you want, my heart belongs to you. I say whatever you need.